welcome to Poor vs. Standard.
Good evening, Standard.
Good evening, Poor.
Glad to have you back. Glad you could be with us for our 1-year anniversary.
Yes, apologies in advance for the fireworks going off nonstop, probably at both our houses.
And happy birthday, America.
Happy birthday, Lady Liberty.
What better way to show appreciation for your country than by blowing up a small portion of it?
Bomb it all.
No. Oh, God. Nope. NSA, you didn't say that at all. Glad to have you back, Standard. I can't wait for the FCC to hear that one. That'll be good. Oh, jeez. Anyway, as always, we are not financial advisors, and anything in this podcast is for entertainment purposes only. So
don't sue us.
Don't do it. Excellent. All right. And with that, we're gonna get into the episode. As always, you can find us on poorversestandard@gmail.com. You can find us on Patreon at patreon.com/poorvstandard. You can find Standard over on the TikToks at poorverse. Is it Poor V Standard or Poor VS Standard on TikTok?
Oh, it's Poor V Standard. It looks weird with the verse.
I gotcha. So Poor V Standard on TikTok. And you can find us on Twitter at VS_poor. So all sorts of ways to get in contact if you have questions, comments, concerns. And we always appreciate you. And thank you for a fantastic first year. We wouldn't be doing this without you, and we wouldn't be continuing to do it if there was no one listening, because that would be the ramblings of a madman into a microphone for no one's benefit but his own.
Maybe if COVID went a little differently.
Right. It's been an interesting year that we've done this. We started this in the midst of a pandemic. Markets were trash when we started, and I think we started on the upswing with the podcast, actually.
Yes, because
the markets shot down and they were at the bottom in like March, and we started in July. So we were in the middle of the upswing when we started.
We were in the trenches on March 16th, that fateful day, when SPY hit, 213, 214.
It was,
it was nasty.
It was low. More than doubled up your money if you bought SPY then.
Just buying an index fund. Who knew? 1 year, 100% return.
Someone knew. V-shaped recovery guy.
Yeah, if this isn't a V, I don't know what is a V.
Right.
I'm just waiting for the W.
The W. That was the 2000s, man. But yeah, no, we do appreciate all our listeners, our patrons, and everyone who has heard our sultry tones in this first year. And to reward you, we wanted to make sure that this anniversary was a special anniversary, not just for us, but for you as well. So tonight we're going to talk about the recent market happenings, and always remember that tomorrow being the markets are closed tomorrow because July 4th holiday. So just keep that in mind when you go to open up your brokerage and you don't see any changes. So we're going to cover some news, we're going to cover some short squeeze stuff, and then we're going to get into the swinging for the fences play. And so for our first story, what do we got, Standard?
For our first story, we have the Robinhood IPO coming soon. It's not been released yet, as far as I know, under ticker symbol HOOD, HOOD.
Because you would know HOOD now.
The HOOD. And when's that coming out, Poor?
It's relatively soon. I know that you can actually, if you're a Robinhood user, they started offering shares to their users first before IPO day. And there's a lot of caution and cautionary tales about IPOs that I've told you over the course of this last year about how traditionally you'll see things go up, and we did just see this with Coinbase, where it shot up the day of IPO and then literally crashed the same day. So I don't see what makes Robinhood special or different, and I actually am not a big fan of Robinhood. So without getting into any type of slanderous, lawsuit with them, I could probably, if I was a betting man, bet against their IPO doing well. their, their customer service is lackluster, to say the best. You can't even talk to a real human if you wanted to. So, and fun fact, as you all know who've listened, I transferred out of Robinhood and put it all into my Thinkorswim account. And it's taken since that day till this next week for them to actually transfer over my cost basis for every position I had in Robinhood. That's months. So,
and have we ever talked about how Robinhood makes money?
no, I don't think we have.
So, going just to their website, what they're willing to publicly disclose, they have some bullet points here. So it says rebates from market makers and trading venues, Robinhood Gold, stock loan, income generated from cash, and cash management. So the last 4 bullet points are how like every brokerage firm makes money, right? But Robinhood offers commission-free trading. So this first bullet point here, this rebates from market makers and trading venues, means they are willing to get you a worse price and then pocket the difference. So if you're trying to buy a option, let's say it's trading the bids at 10 cents and the ask is at 15 cents for an option, and you're trying to buy it and you put an order in for 14 cents, then Robinhood may very well fill it for 13 cents and then charge you the 14 cents for it. So it's giving you basically a worse market price in order for them to make money because they don't charge commissions. So I would personally rather pay a commission like some of the other brokerage houses do than to get a worse price.
It's true, because the options price is what, like 65 cents per option on like Thinkorswim?
Yeah, so unless you're doing thousands of options in some sort of like long-legged like butterfly or iron condor strategy, it doesn't really add up to much. I mean, to do one iron condor that involves 4 option trades, so that's like what, $2.60 total in commission. Mm-hmm. So if you're going to do 10 of them, that's 26. I'd personally rather pay the $26 to get the accurate fill prices.
And another fun fact about Robinhood is they were just fined $70 million by FINRA. I did tweet about this. Only, I believe, 12.8 million or so is actually going to its customers that they've wronged in some way, shape, or form. And the other, like, roughly 58 million is going to FINRA because they did their job. Like, so they get to have a, like, giant pizza party. They're a government entity. Why do they need money?
Right.
Oh yeah, we find someone cool. Let's have a giant pizza party for the whole office. Like, I understand why FINRA's there. I've complained to FINRA about Robinhood before, and I don't know if I'm receiving any of the funds that Robinhood has to delegate out to its users and like ex-users, but I don't understand why FINRA gets to make a profit off of that. Like, that bugs me.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, much like the Silk Roads, the federal government has all the Bitcoin generated from that still to this day, which is worth like hundreds of billions of dollars.
No, they did an auction on that, didn't you? Like years ago.
Oh, they did? Okay.
Yeah, they did an auction for that Bitcoin, which they still made money auctioning off that Bitcoin that they didn't earn.
Yes.
And, I mean, the SEC thing kind of, like, they do the same thing FINRA does. They charge these companies, a couple $1 million here and there, and it looks like, oh, we're doing our job. But really, for a lot of these companies, a couple $1 million is like a piss in the ocean. I mean, one of the things we were going to kind of talk about is how Facebook made it up to a $1 trillion, market cap, and that Apple and Microsoft are both at $2 trillion. So,
right.
I mean, $1 million. What percentage of $1 trillion is that? Like 0.1?
Well, it's 1,000 million, right? So it's it's 0.1.
Yeah. So, they're shaking in their boots. Seriously.
So what would we expect from the Robinhood IPO? Essentially, like,
I think you're going to see what you usually see with IPOs, where the moment it's released, it's probably going to be well above the IPO price that everyone has been told. And then it will eventually slide down below the IPO price, the actual IPO price where people could get it.
right. And
And
so it's basically just wait a month. And then if
Yep.
you want to go in, see what's going on then.
right. I
and
mean, with
that's-
coin, yeah. Go ahead.
that's what I would do anyway. It's tough. Like with the Coinbase, we saw it recently. It
And with-
opened around 350, I think, and then went down to 200.
It opened at 280. It got as high as 350, and then it dropped down
Yeah.
to 214.
Yeah.
Every time it gets down in the 2 teens, I've been buying it and then selling it when it hits like the 240s. So made myself about, half a share or two. So not a bad gig, but it's definitely a little range bound. But it also is closely tied. The thing that boggles my mind is how is it so closely tied to like cryptocurrencies and Bitcoin? Just because if there's a market boom and people are buying the snot out of it, Coinbase collects a fee there. And if there's a market downturn and people are selling the shit out of it, Coinbase collects a fee there. So they get you coming and going.
I guess if it remains flat, it's the worst scenario because like all the frequent traders who jump from one to the other will be less likely to do that if there's
Right.
flat
But
movement.
but what you see is that like Coinbase's like stock value is tied to the crypto markets, and I guess the only way I can logically figure that out is the fact that they also own a lot of this crypto. So
They have to keep a good amount on hand to
Yes.
promote liquidity, right? I mean, it's not like a stock exchange where there's like market makers. I mean, there probably is, but just not so much so in the crypto market as there is in the real world markets.
right. But yeah.
So they have to be their own market maker sometimes to keep liquidity going
That's
for
true.
people to be able to buy it.
Yeah, so that's pretty much what we got for the Robinhood IPO. Unless you have anything you'd like to add.
No, yeah, just wait a month until it debuts. I can't find a solid date here. It says they did like their S1 filing on July 1st.
Yeah.
But it doesn't say what exactly they're going to start, when exactly they're going to start trading. Just ticker symbol HOOD, and it hopes to raise $100 million in the offering. So, which seems kind of low to me, honestly, for a brokerage house. Just $100 million.
Yeah. I don't know. For that brokerage house, pennies. Pennies. In other news, some of you may have seen SPCE that you've held on to for a long time has been blasting off, much like Richard Branson will be blasting off next week. The first of many billionaires who hope to get into space.
And to be clear, he's not going to any place, right? He's just going for like a suborbital flight or something like that.
Yeah. He's going for some 0G good times, and when he hits the floor, he might have a heart attack. Who knows?
I don't know. Is he the oldest person to have gone to space? Because usually it's like a
He's
bunch
up
of
there.
like young, fit Marine type people.
Right.
So I don't know. Does that, dislodge like a clot and give you a stroke? Who knows?
Not me. Spock might, but I mean, he got shot off into space once. He was old. That's a Star Trek reference.
Virgin Galactic has surprisingly been on like a real tear.
Well,
too
it's
recently.
because of the basically he's going up for his birthday, and everyone wants to see a billionaire get shot into space. I'd be lying if I said I didn't want to watch. The fun part is all the like people saying, yeah, if he doesn't come back, I'm okay with it. With like all the billionaires, like Bezos, who's also gonna go up with his blue and whatnot. And
It's like people who watch NASCAR, right? You watch it for the crash,
oh yeah, yeah. No one watches NASCAR to enjoy it. They watch it for like
the
they want to
spiraling
see.
death ball.
Yeah, that's the whole point. That's why people go to those like medieval things. Like they want to see the joust go wrong.
But yeah, on the daily chart, I mean, space has been just SPCE has been ripping it. It's at 44 right now, but it got up to a high of almost 56.
Yep.
That's some pre-pandemic type of rip there.
Yeah.
I was around for the November to it was like late February, early March run up when it ran from about $8 a share to like 40, and then it did a huge pullback. But yeah, then it went on a huge tear again to 60, and surprisingly in February of this year, and then pulled back to 15 in May, and now it went from May to from Friday, which was July 2nd, to 45.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's some tears.
Definitely. But it's yeah. We'll see if he lives to tell the tale of having been what is quite possibly the oldest person into suborbital flight.
What do these billionaires do? They have contingency plans for like giving away their money? I mean, I would imagine like SPCE, like if he dies, like it's not going to be good for that company.
Oh no. No. Warren Buffett's given away most all his money, and he's doing it in a methodical way. I mean,
Yeah,
he's not leaving his kids destitute by any means, but, you know.
Once you win the game of life, you win the game of life. There's not much more. There's not much more you're like holding on to. Like, I need $5 more billion, you know?
Right. Shit, I'll just take one. That's fine.
Yeah, once you hit $1 billion, you're good.
Yeah.
For like ever.
Be that Montgomery Burns kind of man. You gotta get me a Smithers.
Where's Bobo?
So are we good there? Or?
I think so. We can go on. We're going to talk about crypto rallying, I believe.
Absolutely. There's crypto, as we all know, has lost about 50% of its value. Most all of them. I mean, Bitcoin was up over 60. It hit 64, I think. Currently, we're down around 34.5. So, I mean, you can see it right here. For Bitcoin, not bad. It's up from the 31, 32 range. It could still tank, but, you know, we'll see. I think that people are waking up to the fact that China stopping its Bitcoin mining is actually a good thing for everyone else, because it makes it a lot more profitable for everyone else, because there's fewer people mining it, meaning you will get more of the mining rewards if you are left in the pools. And there was actually a reduction in the difficulty of the actual algorithm, like that they have to solve the math problem every block, for those of you that know how Bitcoin works. So the companies left, like Mara and Riot, they are going to get more Bitcoin per block, more than likely, because there's that many fewer miners because China did their crackdown.
Yeah, watch China, man. I don't trust them. They're gonna. It's not like they're not holding billions of dollars worth of Bitcoin.
Well, this isn't the first time that they've had a crackdown on crypto either. So, I mean, they on again, off again. But, I mean, they just hit I believe, a provable threshold that more than 50% of all Bitcoin is mined with renewable energy like solar, wind, and whatnot, which means that Tesla should be accepting Bitcoin payments again. There's a whole bunch of cool things going on for Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Cardano. And yeah, I'm very excited to know that there's going to be a supply shock shortage again. There's not going to be enough Bitcoin, Ethereum, or Cardano to go around, and when that happens, you're going to see these prices skyrocket. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
Where's my Doji at?
Your Doji's at 24 cents.
Not bad. Not bad. Little
No.
recovery in price from early.
Yeah, it's better than 13 cents, but worse than 55.
Yes. It will be $1 someday.
No, it won't. Dude, the fact that it got up to like 80 cents blew my damn mind. Do you know how many Dogecoin there are?
Oh, a lot. A real lot.
Yeah. For it to get up to $1, it's like, and they're still making them. They just keep coming. It's like the U.S. government just printing them into oblivion. It's insane to me. It is the only it's a lot like the U.S. dollar in the fact that it's inflationary, whereas like Bitcoin has a limited supply. Ethereum is a little bit deflationary because they burn, and ADA I believe there's a set amount with Cardano. It's much like Bitcoin, so those are all kind of deflationary tactics. Whereas Dogecoin's just like, here's another billion for the day. Why not?
Also, there was something Elon was tweeting about baby Doji.
Baby Doge, is that the Shiba?
No, there's a
there's
coin.
Another.
There's a coin they made, another shit coin they made called Baby
shit.
Doji.
Jeez.
I believe it's actually called Baby Doji Do.
Really? Like the shark?
Yeah. Baby Doji do. Baby Doji do.
Oh, I hope that's not copyrighted. We are not going to get paid for this episode. We don't get paid for any episodes. I'm not here to fool you.
It went up because Elon tweeted that tweet, the Baby Doji song tweet, and it went up 98% after that. So
No, of course it did. I wonder if he just like sits like in a dark room and just does these tweets and then just like has 7 monitors just watching and he's like, haha, I did that.
I'm sure he does.
I would. But yeah, so it's good to see that crypto's coming back at least a little bit. It's very nice, and I'm sure it's probably not going to hit that $100,000 mark by the end of the year, but it could still hit that. Not a problem. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
To be clear, our number, or my number, to the point where I know crypto is back, is Bitcoin is going to have to be trading over 43,000 solidly.
Yeah, I mean, right now you look at it's kind of bear market territory, but I'm not worried.
Anything more than a touch of 30,000, I'm getting worried, and anything over 43 that's just kind of chugging along above 43, I'm like, okay, yeah, we're good.
Dude,
right.
If Bitcoin drops below 30, I am putting a mortgage on my house.
Yeah, I mean, so right now it's range bound between that 30 and 43,000 mark, and if it does a move to one side or the other, it will be interesting. But yeah, I'm happy if it's above 43 by hopefully the end of August.
Yeah, I think if you see a move above 40 and that resistance gets broken, you're probably going to see some serious shit.
Yeah.
So, but not I mean, we don't know. We're not from the future. We are not futuristic people, so we can't tell you with absolute certainty. It's just a guess.
Blowing past 43 makes it getting back to the all-time high pretty easy, because there's not that many of like these huge ranges that exist in this like Fibonacci retracement that's going on, is the 30 to 43 right now. So
right on. So yeah, that's the update on crypto. There were a couple other stories we wanted to cover. So one of them was the bipartisan spending bill for infrastructure, where nobody got what they wanted, and it looks like it's going to be roughly $715 billion worth of infrastructure spending. And as I've said before on this program, every time you actually read one of these, it kind of makes you queasy and upset, because you'll see that there's just so much pork in anything that gets signed anymore because everyone needs a little something. And so you'll just see random ass stupid spending for, like women's studies in Pakistan and things like that. It's just it boggles the mind how any of this shit gets done. Like, it seriously blows my mind. So that $715 billion that they say is going to be passed for infrastructure is part of a two-phase plan. I believe this is like the Senate part. And if they end up passing this, then there's a House part that they also have to pass. And it's more money, more spending. And I don't know. It's just not all 715 billion of this is going to go towards infrastructure. However, a lot of it is earmarked for EVs. So the EV markets will see a boon from this. So the charge point, those kinds of stocks, not just the actual people who make EVs like, your Teslas, your Neos, because Neo's not going to get anything because it's not an American company. But, I mean, there's Arcimoto, there's a bunch of different EVs. There's the one bus company where I believe the CEO stepped down from it in California so that she could be part of Biden's cabinet. They'll probably get a chunk of cheddar. What was that? ACTC was the stock tipper for that one, I think. I don't know. But yeah.
So with infrastructure, you got to just kind of use your common sense head here and think, okay, so Tyvek home wrap, right? Who makes that? DuPont. So CAT, the construction equipment,
And
things like that.
a lot of the earmarks, if you read through the bill, almost every single thing is going to require steel in some way or another. So steel plays will probably be a good choice. And I think we already discussed this at one of the previous episodes, and I talked about the video that Walrus Street Bets did. Or the Walrus Street, I guess is his ticker symbol, handle, whatever. But he does really great in-depth videos about this kind of stuff, and he did a very good one about how steel is going to be very big in this infrastructure. So keep an eye out for steel.
Yeah, if you bought U.S. Steel, ticker symbol X, on March 16th last year, you could have gotten in for like around $4 a share. It's currently at 24, so that would have been a hell of a return.
Hell of a return.
And obviously, you can see clearly like they're betting on like a huge infrastructure bill like Wall Street is, because it's just been a rocket ship up basically since like October. Since, and then after Biden got elected, it just went nuts. I mean, basically, when was the election in November? I don't remember when elections are, but like November 20th. November 20th was just a rocket ship from like $10 a share to the 24 it is now because of him.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, I didn't want to go too in depth into the boring stuff that is, government spending, but I figured those were the key highlights, was the EV sector and the actual steel sector as far as things to look out for because of the spending bill if it gets passed. But yeah. So, anything else you want to add?
No. Infrastructure bills suck, but there's some stocks that take advantage of when doing it. So,
the last couple things that we wanted to talk about are kind of all wrapped up into one neat little bow as far as the Russell recombination that happened in the last couple weeks, the short squeeze update with the AMC, GME, Clove, and all that, and the fact that the end of the quarter just happened. So yeah, go ahead.
So Russell is the small cap stock index, right? Is that a fair statement?
Yes.
And there's three of them. There's the Russell 1, 2, and 3K. The most popular is the 2K, but there's a 1K, which is harder to get into than the 2K, which is harder to get into than the 3K. So the 3,000 has 3,000 stocks, 2 has 2,000, and so on and so forth. So every year in June, there's like a recombination happening where they have to meet certain requirements, right, as far as like voting rights and a certain amount of shares and market cap go, and you can get added or deleted to the Russell based on that. Is my 10-second take on it.
And that's absolutely correct. All of that. And
So what?
Go ahead.
So what makes it interesting, right, is that all these mutual funds exist that have to mirror the Russell returns. So there may be stocks out there that Wall Street doesn't like. However, just because Wall Street doesn't like them, these mutual funds will still have to pour money into them if they get added to the Russell and pumped up from big time like mutual fund buying and things like that. Just further adding like liquidity to like either lesser known stocks or stocks that like Wall Street likes to dump on.
Like we discussed how CTXR and Sense got into the Russells, and their price has definitely gone down since the recombination because people were buying the rumor and selling the news, I guess. So once it got into the Russell and everyone had to buy it, people sold into that, strength. So
yeah, there's two ways to look at it. There's things like that, and then there's things that are like under actual squeezes, like GME and things like that, where hedge funds have to buy GME now, even though it's under like a short squeeze potential because they have to mirror the returns of the Russell. And albeit it's not that much money on the whole, like if you're making a stock portfolio that's mirroring the Russell index, like you only have to invest 0.1% into each stock, right, according to proportionate to their market cap and things like that. But
yeah, it's basically the same way that the SPY index fund is like mostly Apple and Microsoft. So if Apple's having a good day, you'll probably see the S&P have a good day, even though most all the other companies in the S&P are probably down.
It's market cap weighted, so if if you have a company worth $2 trillion, then you have to buy a proportionate amount of shares to reflect the $2 trillion worth compared to a $100 billion company, right? You have to buy 20 times the amount of shares to accurately reflect a market cap weighted index. So
the Russell recombination ties into the short squeeze in the fact that both GME and AMC were added to Russells, were they not?
Yes, so GME was added to the Russell 1K, and then AMC is in the 1 and 2, AMC is in the 2 and 3, but not in the 1K.
Right. Suffice it to say, if you're in the if you're in the 2, you're in the 3. If you're in the 1, you're in the 2.
Right. So GME is across the board in the Russell Index, no matter which one you're talking about. Which makes things really interesting with this short squeeze thing.
And actually, there's another fun fact about AMC is that on, I believe it was Friday, Iceberg Research did disclose that they added a short position on AMC, and you saw the stock drop down from 57, I believe, all the way into the 49 range, and by the end of the day, it was back up to 52 on the dot, and after hours, it got to 53. So people saw that Iceberg did this, panicked a little, but the Ape Nation is strong, and they just went, nah, we're going to take it. We'll take you too. So it's fun things like that make it worth living,
And, it's not even just the apes. Just consider that for all these stocks, there's a less amount of shares available now because all these institutions have to own it. So it's creating this weird economy, I guess, this new age short squeeze economy where we have now less shares available than before to short. So obviously it's more expensive to short and
If you were a hedge fund and you saw this going on and you wanted to beat the market, don't you think you would probably just start investing in these stocks? Because your investment would probably kick it up a notch.
You would think so. It's surprisingly hard to move $100 million.
Yeah.
is
But
the
it's just
problem.
it's so funny to me that like the hedge fund people, like Wall Street's, like the people who work on Wall Street are like cutthroat assholes, and they will screw you over, like they'll screw your mom over just to get a better steak. Like they don't care about anybody. So the fact that they haven't all started trying to screw each other over and buy these out in like a non-uniform way is kind of boggling my mind. But I mean, look at what they did with, what was it, Silver Price, like Credit Suisse. They royally screwed Credit Suisse recently during that one gentleman who was like super leveraged in Viacom. Like Credit Suisse basically took it on the chin for that, because everyone was like, okay, we're not gonna all sell out of the position right now. We're gonna do it in a, like calm, cool, collected. And then as soon as that meeting was over, everyone but Credit Suisse just went back on their word, and Credit Suisse was like, oh, we just got shit on.
Monsters.
Yeah, it's insane. So that just goes to show you that the people who work on Wall Street are corrupt assholes.
Oh, absolutely.
So it just boggles my mind that they haven't started to, eat their own yet.
They have. They have. There's been plenty of people who have been killed off or have suicided because of blowing up their accounts. So
Suicided. But yeah. So yeah, that was basically all we had for you for the news, other than the jobs report that came out, which was about 50K higher than the actual expected. We got 850K jobs added. So the markets didn't really react all that much to it. It's not a huge story, so because it didn't really affect anything. So yeah. Was there anything else, other stories or anything else you wanted to cover there, Standard?
well, with the jobs report too, there's like that statistic about discouraged workers, and you always have to remember it, like in the unemployment rates and things like that. There's it unemployment runs at a certain percent, right? But when you're not actively searching for a job, I believe it's longer than 6 months, you're completely taken out of that statistic.
Yep.
So there's a lot of people and this is just in the news outlets, but there's a lot of people who are, I don't even know what to call them. I wouldn't call them discouraged workers. I would call them encouraged non-workers.
So they have been taking steps against that. Like there have been a lot of states that have stopped handing out the extra unemployment, and then I believe the feds have said you have to prove that you are looking for a job if you want to keep collecting this much unemployment. And I know that some of the states, like it's supposed to stop in like September or whatever, but a lot of this, like the more red states, honestly, have just straight up said, you're not getting this anymore, go to work.
Right.
I
saw
think it's like 13 plus states that have done that.
I saw a news article for a Burger King in Latrobe, Pennsylvania. Fun fact, where they make Rolling Rock beer.
Nice.
And they have a $1,500 sign-on bonus if you sign on to work for Burger King.
Yeah, there's a lot of like crazy sign-on bonuses for those low-paying jobs, which is really genius on the part of the like corporations and stuff, because you don't have to raise your wage to get people to come work for you, and they have to work for at least 6 months if they take that bonus, I think. Like it's paid out on the 6th month.
That's true.
So that's a pretty savvy way to do it. But I mean, I didn't get a sign-on bonus for my job.
I haven't even gotten my raise yet from
Right?
last year, which I was due. I'm due like $5,000 in raises.
Man, I tell you what, boy.
Tell you what, boy.
So, okay, that does it for all the news. This is, a lot of news to cover, and it was our anniversary episode, so we kind of wanted to go through a bunch of stuff with you. Just a quick overview of the portfolio. If you look, you'll notice that I have sold out of a lot of positions, and I took it on the chin this week with some of my options plays, so my account value is down. But we are low on we've reduced margin by about $3,000. And this week, I think we are going to do a play of, or swinger for the fences, not play of the week, excuse me. The poor swing for the fences play is going to be on Clove because I can't get enough of losing money here. So what we're gonna do is this week expiring. It's not showing for whatever stupid ass reason. The $13 call option, which is under $1, anywhere around the 50-cent mark, we're gonna try and get one just to see, just to play, just to see what happens. You know, it's a swing for the fences play. If it goes up to $15, all right. If it goes up to $28, even better. If it doesn't do either of those things, well, we tried. There we go. It's finally coming out. Yeah. So right now, this Friday expiration date, $13. It says it's only 39 cents, but it went up after hours, so it might open at like 50 cents, but Theta's working against it, so maybe it stays around 39. Who knows? We'll see when we see.
I have a play.
Oh, what's your play?
I was going to say WRAP, W-R-A-P.
All right, let's check that out.
The people who make the Bola wrap, which is like a safer version of a taser because it just shoots rope at people to disable them who are running away from the police. Recently had a very nice run up. It was trading around 4 or 5, and then it went up to 9.50, and now it's coming back down. It's been beaten up this past week. You can get a 20th of August call, a 9-strike call for 50 cents right now. So my swing for the fence would be 2 of those bad boys
There
for
you go.
$100. That would be my swing for the fence.
We'll have to keep an eye on that one. And as always, I will post on Twitter when I buy and sell the Swinging for the Fences plays. Probably an hour or so delayed after I send it out in the Patreon first. So, yeah, just be aware of that and look for those there. And I guess I will add Standards play to it as well. So that's exciting times. All right. Anything else, Standard?
No, only one swing for the fence. I'm not going to list off 20 of them.
Fair enough. Well, we can't thank you enough for an amazing year. We've had ups, we've had downs, we've had lefts, we've had rights, we've hit a start and got the cheat code.
I don't like being constrained to 3D. I think it was more of a 4D year. There was more than ups and downs and lefts and rights. There were Z axes moving around.
Extra planar dimensions and beings are watching everything. So, but no, thank you so much for sticking with us for the year as we've adjusted and changed things along with you through the pandemic, starting the YouTube so you have some visuals, and we're going to continue with that and getting the option plays with actual visuals out there. And basically what we started with how options work and all that, we're going to throw some visuals up and put them on YouTube now. And yeah, we're going to release all these episodes that we're making now on YouTube as well. So there's a lot of content over there. And we're growing and expanding and trying to get better and more content for you folks. So again, we can't thank you enough for sticking with us for a whole year. I can't believe it's already been a year. So thank you so much. And Standard, I'm always glad to have you. I appreciate you coming on for the year.
I will, no matter where I am, I will always be back for the year anniversary episode.
It's true. He's Doctors Without Borders sometimes. Who knows? He goes places. He does things. I can't. It's not that he's not a reliable folk. He's a busy man, and so we've taken that into account, and we're glad to have him in when we can because he's so busy.
America,
stupid busy.
Fuck yeah.
All right. Thank you so much. Have a good night. And as always, stay safe.